Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and today is Saturday, only 2 more days left of the Super Week, many seeding implications to run through towards the end of the video, but first of all, wanted to get into pretty much the drama that went down last night after the matches concluded between Dallas Empire and the New York Subliners, that being Crimsix coming out on stream, effectively calling out the CDL in front of all the people watching, and is almost certainly going to be taking a fine for this one. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, this from CDL Intel mentions a couple of days ago we saw this. Is this an intended line of sight? In a well-Clayster's words from way back in 2016, I imagine it was, in Black Ops 3. Is this an intended line of sight? Fixed apparently now. So addressed an issue on Raid that allowed players to stand outside of the intended play space, and also on Checkmate you guys might remember that right at the start of the game you used to be able to capture on like P3 outside of the hardpoint basically, and then it got fixed and then apparently it got reverted in a patch, so now they have dealt with that once again, which is cool to see. This from Zero as well, taking challenges, fellas, talking challenges, fellas. No update on the visas as of yet, but probably going to take over the challenger scene regardless, as well, Traces right here haven't sniffed a scrim in a minute. He got on like a 2-way contract, so he can now compete in challenges while still being a substitute for the Royal Ravens at the present time, but I mean maybe in time he will be needed to get called up to the starting roster when he's able to do so. And as Crone says, he's going to be playing with aBeZy, Maple and Drazah under Singularity Esports. Singularity was so good at the start of last season and dominated the early part of Modern Warfare, but as of late have certainly fallen off in terms of the power rankings in the European scene, so maybe Zero will be able to revitalise their team for the coming weeks. Blast says this a few days ago that we looked at, right? So COD got to be the only game you practice on 12 to 20 Hz servers and play official matches on 60 Hz. We had a discussion about Slasher was talking about it, the fact that it's disrespectful that this is still an issue right now, especially regarding the spawns, right? We saw Revan talking about it the other day, some other players talking about it as well, the fact that spawns seem to be different on 60 Hz servers than the ones that they practice on. So 60 Hz servers somehow they play on for officials, but then in practice they have to play on just normal custom game servers where they only get 20 Hz. And that, well, leads to some differences in how the game plays, and also supposedly in how the spawns work, right? Which is a little bit strange to even think about. Some people have been talking about the fact that because maybe it's 60 not 20, maybe the spawn, let's say the spawn logic, it updates every tick, therefore like if it's updating 60 times a second, then the spawn logic might end up being somewhat different in some situations to a 20 Hz situation. Not really sure how that would even work, but I imagine the pros aren't just, I doubt they're just completely making this stuff up. They've talked about it for 2 years now. The spawns feel different on 60 Hz, and we've definitely seen some kind of questionable stuff over the last couple of weeks in the Pro League. You guys point out to me relatively often. So Crim effectively has some things to say about it on the stream last night after completing the reverse sweep up against the New York Subliners. Crone says, let him know Crimsix, and well, he gonna blast the CDL on their own stream. Pretty incredible stuff. I mean, Clay and Crim have both been doing this these last few days. I'll play the clip for you guys because it's pretty entertaining stuff.
I understand there is some turbulence in the preparation getting here.
Yeah, well, for scrims, we're playing 20 Hz, and for matches, we're playing 60 Hz. You want to talk about it up and down? When we go from scrims to matches, we got different spawn points to worry about. We got different... Wait, what is this? You guys playing a cutscene already? I'm not done talking.
No, we're just looking at your stats.
But
no, keep going.
Anyways, if we're going to scrim on 20 Hz, we better be playing on 20 Hz. Or if we scrim on 60, we better be playing on 60. All right? Players Union, guys. You're done. We want good spawns, please.
So Clay, of course, put his middle finger up on stream just a few days ago, kind of frustrated about the content that the CDL were using, their post-game comms with Los Angeles Thieves, with Clayster being very frustrated. But of course, I imagine the contract that he signed gives the CDL the player rights to do stuff like that. So I guess they're within their rights, but maybe you can make a good argument that the CDL should have asked him and said, like, look, is this okay? But I guess they don't have to at the end of the day. Maybe it would have been common courtesy. But yeah, well, Crimsix also probably taking a fine right here, as well as Octane says, Crim taking the fine, the king of fines in the CDL, Crim taking the fine like a true gentleman. What a man of the people at Crimsix. So definitely calling out the CDL and saying, look, you've got to deal with this, right? Otherwise, us as players, talking about the players union, the fact that, well, the CDL are just screwing over the players. We need a union to actually like fight back against the league and some of the decisions that they make, because it's not in favor of competitive integrity. And we also saw, I think it was attached maybe on the UIU podcast, I didn't cover it at the time, but he mentioned not too long ago that the players union, which was meant to be formed throughout the off season, for some reason that fell through. It didn't happen quite quite as it was intended to. Clayster said a while ago as well on stream the fact that a players union isn't a thing at the present time, even though we were talking about it through the off-season that it was in the works. Not really sure what's going on there, but yeah, Crim kind of blasting the CDL pretty ballsy to see. And well, you wouldn't expect anything less from the 3-time world champion Crimsix. As Douglas Raw says, Dallas Empire, you got my boy Crim's fight, hopefully, lol. So yeah, saying, okay, hopefully Dallas cover this one for me. Otherwise, I'm going to be down bad, but it probably shouldn't dent the pockets too much after their world championship win last year. Wanted to go through a bit more of the reaction to yesterday's series as well. So as you can see right here, Dallas complete the first reverse sweep of their season. I mean, Clayster has a 1.160 Crim really turned up in the control and also in the second hard point. So yeah, it was a great series between the two of them. And yeah, some Twitter reaction as well. So well, this is what Hastory said before the series even kicked off, like wishing them the best. It's pretty crazy to see how everything's gone down. And honestly, if Clayster had 3-0'd them, we might have been having the discussion today. I think this is the video I would have done on like whether Clayster should have been kept, right? Like you can make a very good case. I mean, even now you can probably make a reasonable case even after they lost, right? But still, Clayster's been phenomenal so far this season. If you try and put together a list of the best players in the world, Clayster's got to be up there, right? Because he's been absolutely killing it. And you know, what he's done with these youngsters, once again, is remarkable. So you can make a very good case, to be honest, that Clayster should have been the one to be kept. Obviously, it's difficult to get rid of the greatest of all time in Call of Duty being Crimsix. But yeah, if they'd have 3-0'd yesterday, that's probably the video I would have done. Because there's certainly still the discussion to be had. Should Crim have been kept? Should Clay have been kept? If Clay was on that team, would they have been better than they are right now? Would he have been able to get even more miles, I suppose, out of the guys on that team, as he seems to be doing off these guys on the New York Subliners, which on paper are less talented, right, than the Dallas Empire guys in that crazy close series they had yesterday. So well, certainly something to keep your eyes on going forwards. All I'm going to say is that if Clayster manages to win the World Championship this year once again, which is already looking possible, not probable by any means, but it's certainly possible at the present time on the Subliners, then well, he's got to have undisputed greatest of all time status. I don't think there's anything else to be said about that. This was some of Clay's reaction yesterday, so my heart hurts after that series defeat, and method as well. You know, it's taken a lot for me not to put my head through a desk at the present time. Clayster also equally frustrated, understandably so. Thought this was interesting as well, right? Clayster was doing those like breathing exercise things that they put up on stream, right? And well, Simp says right here, no chance you're getting me, but I do that too. They just don't full screen me like they always do to you. Yay for content, says Clay. So yeah, once again frustrated with the CDL, like putting the breathing exercise and stuff he was doing live on the stream, and therefore people are memeing him for it, even though like, come on, you're just gonna get your focus ahead of him at 5. I mean, yeah, you gotta respect it. That's what sportsmen do. This as well was pretty entertaining from Crimsix. So Codley tweeted this out. I think this was maybe mid-series or something. This was Crim versus Clayster's stats so far this season. We can see that Clayster on paper made a 1.25 in the hardpoint, 1.5 in surge, 1.46 in control. But Crim isn't taking that lightly, right? As he says, nice one, show the overall team records now. Individual stats mean nothing if your team does not win, and most likely will not showcase why a team won or lost. Teamwork cannot be measured by these BS stat graphics or a holographic player card. My 2 cents. So some people looked at this, I think, and thought he was like calling out Clayster for playing for kills or something rather than playing for the win. I don't think that's the case. I think they certainly respect each other equally, but just saying that like, look, my stats don't exactly tell the whole story here. Like, I'm 3-1 in the league, but yet my stats aren't looking spectacular. I bring more to a team than just the statistic lines, right? And well, Grim replies with this graphic as well, which is going to be here for the entire season. I'm sure this is going to be on a fair few of my thumbnails throughout the rest of it, and this is on the big screen if you guys didn't quite get to see it right there. So let's talk about the potential match scenarios for the games that are coming up later today. This is one of the most interesting ones over in Group B. We looked at the fact that Atlanta FaZe are the number 1 seed, Chicago are the number 2 seed. The number 3 seed, though, is certainly still up for grabs. LAG can still get it if the following happens. So if Paris lose to Atlanta, which is probable today, I mean, not necessarily incredibly likely, because Atlanta don't have anything to play for, and Paris actually do have a lot to play for in this series, so I wouldn't say it's out of the question that Paris end up winning this one. Still going to favour Atlanta, though, but I wouldn't listen to my predictions. My predictions yesterday were so unfortunate, by the way, just to go a little bit of a tangent. Like, I went for LA Thieves first series, then I went for Toronto, then I went for New York in the final one, right? So Toronto were up 2-1, 200-100, and I had them 3-1 in my pick'ems. I thought, okay, it's clean, they're going to close it out. They managed to choke that and the map 5. And then, of course, in the final game, I go for New York because I think, okay, they're going to carry the momentum. Looks like they're doing so. They choke like an unchokeable control, and they get reverse sweeped. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. But anyway, so Los Angeles Grizzlies, if they beat Toronto and Florida also lose to Chicago, then LAG actually make it in over Paris. We'll have a look at what that looks like here in just a second. But these are the matches for later today. So FaZe Legion, Rokkr Royal Ravens. Even if the Rokkr win this though, which they probably should do based on where the teams are stacking up right now, if the New York Subliners beat Seattle Surge tomorrow, which they're probably likely to do on current form, that means that still Rokkr don't make it top 3 because Subliners hold the tiebreak over Minnesota Rokkr, which is why that series against the Dallas Empire was so important yesterday. We'll look at that in a second. Then the Ultra Gorillas match. Honestly, I might favour LAG in this one because Ultra are kind of down for the count at this point, but LAG still have a lot to play for, so could be an interesting series to watch. And these are Sunday's matches as well on the right here. We will go through these tomorrow. So these are how the groups stand up at the present time, and as you can see, in Group A, Thieves and Empire are locked 1 and 2. Whoever wins in tomorrow's match on the Sunday is going to take first spot in this group, and first spot in this group will get a bye in the winner's bracket. That's pretty good, but at the same time, if you're second in this group, you will then play the third seed from Group B, which is not Atlanta FaZe or Chicago, right? It's going to be either Paris Legion or I think Los Angeles Guerrillas can make it. I don't think Florida Mutineers can make it anymore because they lose to tiebreaks to pretty much everyone. So as I say, if Rokkr do beat the Ravens, but Subliners also manage to take the victory up against Seattle Surge, then because Subliners have the tiebreak against Rokkr because they beat them 3-0, then Subliners will get the third spot in the winner's bracket, which is certainly where you want to be if you actually want to have a chance of winning this major. And as I say, if Dallas had lost yesterday, they would have been the team at 2 and 2, and it would have been Rokkr who had the tiebreak over them, right? And therefore, Dallas more than likely would have been in losers. All Rokkr would have had to do, I think, was beat the Ravens, and then at that point, Dallas Empire would have been pretty much guaranteed to be in the 4th spot and not even make it to the winner's bracket. So an incredibly crucial reverse sweep from Dallas, which well keeps our hopes of maybe getting Dallas versus OpTic or Dallas versus FaZe or one of those cracking series at the major. But honestly, given the way some of these other teams are looking right now, any of these matches could be absolutely spectacular. Intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm that you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.